Hello everyone, it is California Bird here with another awesome custom historic Lego kit by Brickmania. Today we're going to be doing the X-1 rocket plane, or what it should be, the Bell X-1 rocket plane, as it was made by Bell Aerospace. So this aircraft was the first airplane to break the speed of sound, and it did it back in the 1940s. And it was flown by Chuck Yeager, who I guess this guy is supposed to represent. It just says U.S. test pilot, but we're going to call him Chuck Yeager because that's the guy who actually broke the sound barrier. But either way, this Chuck Yeager broke the sound barrier in this aircraft and was the first one to do it at a sustained level cruising attitude. So there were planes that went into the transonic region. So there's subsonic, then there's transonic, and then supersonic. A really brief overview of this. And so there were airplanes that did have shock waves. That's how you're in the transonic region. Local flow on your aircraft is going faster than the speed of sound. And aircraft did do this in dives in World War II, but they weren't controlled, and oftentimes it led to controls, like when you're flying the airplane, like it reversed or it did really weird, freaky things, and also some airplanes like disintegrated when they went faster than the speed of sound. So no one had did it controlled and like in a level, nice flight. So the Chuck Yeager was the first one to do it in this aircraft. And this one was carried up to altitude and dropped off a B-29 Stratofortress. It was carried in the belly, and then it was dropped, and then Chuck Yeager flew it off. And fun fact about that flight, actually, so I forgot, I think it's a few days, maybe it was the day before, Chuck Yeager was supposed to do this. He broke his arm, fell off a horse, and broke his arm, and he was supposed to report that, you know, this happened, and then they would get a replacement pilot, but he wanted to be the first one in the history books, so he lied. And and then got to fly it. He had a little brace or something. But either way, back to the model. So this is in the new Brickmania. You can tell like packaging. It's really cool. I like that there's a lot more pictures on it. So we've got like the aircraft 3 view on the back, and then we also have, you know, some cool highlight pictures. And it's a lot more artistic, which I really like. I also believe this is the first space race Brickmania set that they've done, just because this is 5001 and it seems like it's the first of the series, and I don't know that they've done any space race stuff in the past as for sets that you can buy. So this is pretty cool. So this is going to be slightly different. I'm not going to do a speed build in this video. If you want to see the speed build, there will be a link, a pop-up, a thing, a tag of something in the description on the video somewhere, whatever YouTube's doing at this time. And it will link to the speed build if you want to see that. However, let's go ahead and jump right on into the review. Alright, here we go, and here's the Bell X-1 all put together. It was a pretty fun kit to put together. I liked, so let's start off with the things I liked. I liked how nicely they were able to get the construction on the inside, like basically make this very compact and very nice. The main landing gear, I'll just pull this off its stand real fast. The main landing gear was really cool how it's operational. It does go into the aircraft and come out of the aircraft. So does the nose gear. So that's cool. Nose gear acts, it's a little bit more funky than the main landing gear. It's a Lego pan that you have to turn on its side, whereas the main landing gear actually kind of push in and out. You do have to flip a stud around just so that way the way the weight is placed on the wheels works. However, it still works pretty nice. You just have to pull off a couple pieces. That being said, though, so that is cool. Oh, I should also say the printing of the rocket engine on the back is also really cool. That being said, though, having the wheel extended brings out flaw number 1 I have with this model, and something that I'm kind of a little bit disappointed in, the build quality. So if you notice, this cockpit, oh look, it just fell off because the cockpit is only held on with these 2 studs that are then held on with this little plate up here. Now, if you don't have the nose gear out, you can put this 4x1 plate on the bottom, and it will hold the main fuselage with the cockpit area, and then you won't have issues. Like, it won't wiggle off anymore. But when you just have this 1x6 up here, which has a lot of flex in it, and it's only holding on 2 studs, it likes to come off. So that is gripe number 1. I wish they could have made that a little bit better. When I display this, I probably am not going to have the nose gear out. I'm probably going to have that plate on it, so that way, if it falls over, the nose won't just fall off. And speaking of just falling over, that's gripe number the 2nd that I had with this kit, was the fact that the center of mass is about right where this landing gear are, right here. And if you notice the stand, the edge of the stand is also about where the main landing gear is. And it does not take a lot of force to get this thing to start to tip. Look at this. I'm honestly not putting a lot of weight on this. I can just put, so for a standard thing, I'll just have this minifigure on, just drop him. Look at this. You're already getting a bunch of bounce, and if you get enough of it, it just tips right over. It is really easy. Just shaking the table, I've noticed, will cause it like right there to tip. And then as you see, when you tip and then you try to catch it, the nose falls off. So again, yes, if I displayed this, I would have it so that the stud's on there, so when it does eventually fall, the nose won't break off. Some ways they could have fixed this potentially is just made the stand a little bit longer, or add a bit more mass, add a bit larger of a moment arm. That way you'd have, like, it would be a bit more resistant to tipping over, or maybe move some more mass of the actual vehicle to the back, or move the stand forward a little bit. Do something like that. It's not, I mean, there's a lot of ways of fixing it. I don't see why this is kind of an issue. Like tipping back, it's super solid because again, the CG is so much further forward than the rear tipping point. But again, that front tipping point's way too close. Then you move it to about here, about like midway on the stand, which it is not. So that needs to get fixed. And then a way they could have fixed maybe the cockpit, if they wanted the nose gear to show, is maybe with this black or maybe even this orange flat pieces. Maybe they could have placed, I just look real fast on the inside here. If I just pop this off. Yeah, maybe they could have placed a through plate between the fuselage and like the cockpit, so that way the cockpit doesn't just fall off. I understand they want it to be easy for you to get to the nose gear, to put it down and up. However, that really compromised structural integrity, and I think that was not the best decision to do there, seeing as, like, again, the nose, just catching it falling over, the nose is going to fall off, and it's kind of awkward to have that happen. So again, yeah, when I display it, I'm going to put this 4x1 on the bottom here to try to hold it on. There is some cool, one cool functionality that I didn't mention yet, though. It's not all bad news. No, there's still some good news. The cockpit is pretty cool. So it opens up just like this. You can take off the little windows and whatnot, and then you put your minifig right here, this little Air Force test pilot guy. You can put him inside the cockpit. He'll fit in there, and then you can close him up. So it does have that. You can put a minifigure in there. So that's cool. And I am still amazed at how much stuff they were able to put in such a small fuselage. The working main landing gear still amazes me because this, the internal volume is only 3 studs wide, and it's more like 1.5 to 2 studs wide, just given how everything is placed in there. So amazingly, they fit a lot in there. I mean, you can see how thin this is, and to get the landing gear to pop out and to retract and whatnot is pretty cool, you have to say. Again, they just need to put a little bit more work into the nose and the fuselage, and that would have made this a much better model for me, like, in my opinion. That would have just sold it for me. But with this flaw, and with the stand, it's kind of like, it's okay. It's going to be great for at work when I display this, because I do work at an aerospace firm, so it's going to look really cool on my desk, but just have to make sure people don't, like, knock the nose off or tip this over. So I'm going to have to mess a little bit with the stand to make sure it doesn't fall over, maybe mess a little bit with the nose, as I said. So it's an okay model. I've had better Brickmania models, I guess is what I'm saying. But it was still really cool, and it is very unique to have an X-1. So if you enjoyed this review, definitely remember to give a like. And if there's anything else that you want me to look at, or if there's any questions you had about this model, definitely leave a comment down below. And if you wanted to see the speed build of this, there will be another video somewhere on our channel. Maybe there'll be a link in the description, or somewhere on something that pops up, maybe. So where you can see the speed build of the X-1. Well, anyway, this has been California Bird. See ya.